Dayne Zorko's tale of perseverance and excellence reaches the game's great milestone. The veteran Lion joins us ahead of Game 300.
Dealing with self-inflicted wounds, our coaches put us in the mind of Matthew Nicks in a crisis-torn week.
And playing through the pain, Zach Merritt gloved up to face the Blues tomorrow night.
Talked about is just step into it, embrace all of it.
Get in the room and fix it.
It's unedifying for a senior coach to do that.
Err on the side of caution with the brain. Take the man off.
They played the best footy I've ever seen at the start of the season. And if you'd said Brisbane lift the cup, I would have said, of course they do.
It's the stuff that legends are made of.
What is holding the ball? I don't think I could answer it clearly right now.
I could do something wrong, you know, and I need to go. And the board sacks me.
The fans love it, and with no fans, no 360, right?
I just made the mistake of asking Gaz whether he'd ever been involved in famous final round escapades, and 7 minutes later, the five-man crew has been regaled.
Talk to the hand.
We're back in 1987. We'll lose the whole show if you tell this story.
I can't. We'll take us through. We'll miss Dayne Zorko. But it was a famous last round in 1987. And Jason Dunstall, my great friend and colleague, kicked a goal for Hawthorn to beat Geelong, which allowed Melbourne, who were beating the Western Bulldogs, to go into their first final series in 24 years. Do it for Robbie. Robbie Flower came out and he ripped the game to shreds in the second half, and Melbourne went into the final.
And what did you do for
I was
Jason?
in hospital with a broken leg, Gerard. Not that funny, no. I wouldn't think it's that funny.
And Melbourne sent Jace a?
I think it was either a slab or a keg, in thanks, of which I'm sure he took care of that quick swing.
All right, so that might be what we see on Sunday night, as all sorts of fates are intertwined. What we have for you tonight, our favourite pairing, John Longmire and Adam Simpson. The teams are in for Essendon and Carlton. There's a couple of stories there. Dayne Zorko shortly from Brisbane. What a milestone this is for him.
He's in rare company, Gerard. You'll see it soon. Geez, in rare company.
Fellow author Libby Birch is here in the weekend picks to bring it home. And then last crack preview, Ben Dixon will set up David King and Lee Montagna to go in depth on round 24. Who is it D-Day for Aussie Broadband?
There's only one game, a D-Day game, and that's the one we'll be at and calling, and that is the Western Bulldogs and Freo. And I'm going for the Fremantle Dockers. When I say going for them, I'm putting them on the D-Day slide. So it's all or nothing for this club. And I think they're a big chance, Gerard. I think they're a genuine chance against the Bulldogs. They've got a forward line that can really stretch the Dogs where they're vulnerable. They just can't freeze like they did against the Brisbane Lions on Friday night on the big stage over there. So they'll come with a steely resolve. I like Longmire today, his presser. He is a bit combative and a bit defensive, and he's going, last time I looked, we'd won one more game. I like that attitude. Now, the players have got to pick it up and run with it, and don't deliver this sort of stuff. Just go out, test this Western Bulldogs defence. Sarong and Brayshaw's record against the Western Bulldogs outstanding. So this is the moment, and I'm gathering over to you.
Yes, well, why don't we hear from Justin Longmire first to properly set the scene?
Yeah, the pressure's on them as well, isn't it? Last time I checked, they've won one less game than us. So, yeah, so the narrative around some of this stuff gets me a little bit because, yeah, last time I checked, we're on the same amount of wins as Collingwood, who are sitting fourth. So everyone's talking like we're going to miss the finals. I've got full faith in this group to be able to go over there and get it done and play our way, and confident that our way is good enough.
That's a great backdrop.
I love that, Gerard. I don't know whether he had to be put up to do that or he just got on the front foot and went whack. But that is exactly the mindset that the club's got to come to Marvel Stadium with on a Sunday. And if it's not coming from the coach, where is it coming from? So I loved it.
All right, it's D-Day for the Bulldogs, clearly, as well as if they go through a season when Richards, Bontempelli, Darcy and Norton have played like this and missed the 8, we will go, what in the Sam hell were they up to? Yeah. Coming into the season, it was a year to take aim at the top 4, so they haven't managed to do that. They haven't managed to do it because the only team in the top 9 they've beaten is the Giants. They've lost once to Fremantle. They were pretty unfulfilled when they came back from the West for that. They have been scoring for fun at Marvel, so all the advantages are with them. There are no excuses. Go out, get it done, and then plot a path to a preliminary final. That's the sort of footy from time to time they're playing. I won't extinguish my candle for the Bulldogs until the final siren, and then I'll have to reluctantly do it if I can't meet it.
That's on a Sunday ticket that you can't get excited about. So the Giants, just to shore up their spot and get the best possible positioning into the cutthroat, into top 4 kind of territory.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
That is a good way to finish a home and away season. Oh, and then we've got the straight homework on the Wednesday, but we'll get to that soon enough.
We will get to it.
All right, top of the agenda is the torturous process to reach a conclusion. The Izak Rankine investigation continues on. Days of parry and thrust on a legal front, still unresolved on a Wednesday night. It will tip into Thursday as the Crows pull out all stops to minimise the ban.
We've been too slow to learn and grow and develop, I suppose, as people.
Unfortunately, but through suspensions, you'll need a change in behaviour, and no doubt it will.
We cannot say this.
You can't say the players haven't been warned about it.
I've got no sympathy for him.
There's no place for it.
Rankin would be beside himself.
He's very remorseful and he understands that he's made a mistake and he'll accept whatever comes his way.
But it's probably the penalty to me that I have a little bit of an issue with.
What's a fair penalty for things like this? As we know, to get 4 or 5 weeks for a physical indiscretion, geez, you'd want to knock someone in the next week to get 5 weeks, wouldn't you?
I don't condone the behaviour. It's a term that should never be used on the football field, we understand. But I think we painted ourselves in a corner with regard to the penalty and the length of penalty to start.
Is it a distraction for the group? You've been so good at being narrow-focused this year.
No, this is.
Yeah.
But no, we're locked in on what we're doing this weekend. And as I just said before, we just put support around Izak because it is a tough thing to go through, and he knows it's going to be tough from here, but we'll work our way through it.
Hopefully it's the last time it happens. Who knows if it is, but obviously no room in the game for it.
It's going to cost his team, and it's going to cost his club, and it's going to cost him. This one's going to really sting.
This is not sympathy for Izak. This is sympathy for the Adelaide Footy Club.
The ramifications are unbelievably significant.
So those ramifications sit so heavily over the process, which you'd have to say is convoluted. The incident happens on Saturday night. Phone call is made between Collingwood and Adelaide on Sunday and referred to the AFL's integrity unit. Interviews are conducted on Monday. There's an Adelaide submission to the AFL, which accompanies those. The AFL's determination goes back to the Crows, which sets out the 5-week ban, of which the Crows have the right of rebuttal, which they are exercising at the moment, and they've been granted additional time to do that. So that's due with the AFL tonight, and then a determination tomorrow. So, if I may, there's a few points here.
Take us through them.
That is an intolerably convoluted process, and it risks the AFL looking indecisive. Perhaps behind the scenes they haven't been that at all, but that's how it looks from the outside. It does make me wonder why Andrew Dillon and his legal team didn't go to Adelaide on Tuesday, sit in the boardroom and stay until matters were resolved. I think on a public front, so this is going to run all the way until game day of round 24. It's a nasty story. It's got an unsavoury edge, and some of the debate around it's damaging to the code and runs all the way. But my focus really is on Adelaide, who seem desperate to fight every angle of this. It's not a picture of accepting responsibility and acting in a contrite manner. And they are arguing the toss at every turn, formally and informally. Finals games should be worth more than home and away, even though there's no precedent in the system for that. They have gone with Rankine was provoked, which is a big stretch, I think, in he was antagonised, but provoked is a big stretch. Informally, they've even raised Snoop Dogg. I would put to you, that's the domain of talkback radio, not a responsible footy club. I think there were 3 possibilities here: is front up to what happened, pledge to address whatever it is in the environment that allowed this to happen, and accept what's coming.
It's a fine line. Well, is it a fine line? They also, it's incumbent from a supporter's point of view to do the best job they possibly can to see if they can get Izak back playing. Now, as unsavoury as that may sound, and as you've pointed out, it smacks of them not wanting to take responsibility, I think they are entitled to argue their case as vociferously and as strongly as they possibly can, given the stakes that are at play, so long as they are accepting of the final verdict and it doesn't go too far. But I understand what you're saying, it's drawn out, and I like your first alternative. Get over there and fix it. I'm always one of those to get on the front foot and get in front of each other and nut it out until it's done. The Crow supporters want to have, they want their man to play, and then the administration now is saying, well, we'll do whatever we can, but there will come a time where they need to put their hand in the air and go, enough's enough.
So the AFL is going to need to be resolute when they announce their punishment. There's a constituency that's waiting to hear, and even the raising of Snoop Dogg by the club, they're going to have to front up to those questions. Yeah. And Adelaide, who have their history on this front, is they fought tooth and nail every step of the way on their pre-season camp. I hope they have learned a lesson or two along the way in the way that they address this publicly when the time comes.
That is a very interesting point. And as a football club that's sitting on top of the ladder and a premiership favourites, there is a way to deal with it. And as I said, I don't begrudge them the right to fight and fight hard, even if that means getting in the trenches a bit. But there comes a time when you need to show some humility and be accepting of the penalty, and that'll come.
Craig McRae, the Collingwood coach, spoke today. This was his insight.
Yeah, it's about making sure our players are safe, but also I don't want to demonise Izak either. Everyone's allowed to make mistakes. The young lad seems like a really respectful young man, and he's made an error. So the AFL will take their own course on that, but you're allowed to make mistakes too. So we respect that.
There's been talk about provocation in terms of a submission and that. Is there no provocation for something like that?
I don't want to have he said, she said stuff. I think the reality is, and we're all really comfortable with what we want our workplace to look like, and these things step over the boundary line.
If it turns out that Collingwood go back to Adelaide for a qualifying final, that is an explosive backdrop for that game to take place in front of. So we'll wait to see on that front. Craig McRae was also, he offered great clarity around the Bobby Hill scenario, which has sort of lurked in the background with a degree of uncertainty and all manner of rumour and innuendo about it, both publicly and I think within the club. Having had dinner with Bobby last night, he looked to set matters straight on the record.
I had dinner with Bobby last night. As I continue to say, it's a week-by-week, day-by-day thing with Bobby. It was just nice to catch up with him on a social level, just to check in and care for him. There's two things that I always live by. There's high performance and there's love and care. And I've just sort of left the high performance for now and just making sure the young lad's OK. Time's running out in the season and maybe the high performance might be a bit far at the moment, but we'll just take that off the table for now and hopefully he can get back in the club and then be happy, and then we'll see where we go from there.
So off the table for a moment, McRae also said that when he was asked, does that mean he won't play? He said he'd asked Bobby how Bobby wanted him to answer that. He said, just give me a glimmer of hope that I could work my way back.
Yeah, I would suggest his season is done, given the amount of work that he's missed and given the game that we're about to play, and that is the most competitive, high-pressured game of all, and that's finals footy, and that's sad. So from a Bobby point of view, I think, again, the issues are the issues, and then there's the footy issues. And I'm glad that Craig has addressed it. In the end, the playing group need to know. The playing group, and I'm sure they communicated this to their players as well, and maybe the supporters. Hey, this is where it sits. Unambiguous. We're not worrying about footy right now. That's not on the table. So if you're not worrying about footy in round 24, and having missed the work that he's done, then that's a long shot that he's playing. I think that's good to get that out there, because then we can go, OK, we'll let him deal with what he's going to do. We don't need to pressure them about when he's going to come back to footy. That's a long, long shot. The playing group need to know it, because they don't need to answer it every time they go to the milk bar and every time they buy, the paper or whatever. So it's out there, it's done, and then I hope Bobby can get sorted what he needs to get sorted. But the footy now is the focus for them.
They have clearly missed him. So there's no more, well, wait till we get Bobby back. They're going to have to find a way without him.
Well, there's another reason why you got to move on, Gerard, and that appears to what's happened today. And I think that's a good thing for Collingwood. They've got to get moving and move on, and there's a final series to be won.
Teams are in for tomorrow night. There's a story or two here as well, Essendon and Carlton. So they're both in a parlous state with what they've got. Zach Merritt does return, as he told us last night. He's got the medical all clear. He's got the glove on to protect as much as he can the plate that's been inserted. So Merritt is in. Shield comes back. So Cal Toomey was reporting today that by mutual agreement, this is the last time Shield will play for Essendon. He will see if there's a buyer for him in the trade market. El Houli and Hobbs are the two who are omitted. So the two injured players from last week, Laverde and McMahon, are named to get up. And on the Carlton side of things, Lucas Camporeale, who we saw in the early couple of rounds, and White return. Fogarty and Lord are injured, so they get a little younger again. The story here is Mitch McGovern's not been selected. He's an emergency. So stuck on 17 games. He misses the trigger, which would have given him the contract extension for next year. So there's sort of one of two things at play, but his previous contract is now at an end.
Yes, so it puts the Carlton Footy Club back in the driver's seat by him not playing, and if he is to play on at the Carlton Footy Club, then that is to be negotiated. Should he have played this game, then he would have, assuming he exercised the trigger, played on at his want and at the contract that he had negotiated. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he won't be at Carlton, not an overly positive sign, but doesn't necessarily might be done. He could renegotiate maybe on half the money if they're both happy and push forward.
Charlie Curnow's fate. So the back page of the Herald Sun had the story out of Sydney today saying that he's the Swans' #1 target, which wouldn't be a surprise. Two elements to this. The first one, would he be a good fit for Sydney?
Yeah, I think he would. He fits the profile. He fits the history of the Sydney Swans and what they've been able to do in terms of attracting big-name key forwards with a profile and a presence and someone that fits into the market. So, yeah, he'd be perfect. He'd be absolutely perfect for the Sydney Swans.
The second part is, should Carlton consider a trade, particularly if there's a three-team market for him?
Yeah, they should say no, under no circumstances am I considering would we consider a trade, and then sit back and see what comes their way. That's the way this thing works, Gerard. We've been in it long enough now. History's littered with players and clubs who have declared that under no circumstances, and we take the bait, and then 2 days later they go, oh, I've changed our mind, the deal's been done. So that's open. I think everything's on the table. And, if something crazy comes Carlton's way, then I wouldn't be surprised.
I think the next step is, at the exit interview, is Charlie Curnow going to say to Carlton that he would like to be elsewhere, or will he bury that deep down and just see what happens?
Well, he shouldn't. He got to get up and front up. And he said it publicly, I want to stay, end of story. But what he says to Carlton might be different. But you only get one shot at this, these blokes. And it doesn't necessarily mean if he says, I want to go, that he goes. But be up front and be honest. It's a time of change at Carlton Footy Club.
Yep.
Put him on the table.
Our special guest waiting for us in Brisbane.
Rare company.
Yeah. 300 games is the great milestone of the game, and the great Zorko, as he was instantly dubbed when he came to the game. So it was round 7, 2012, that he was named for his debut at the Brisbane Lions, and our then program league teams had a bit of fun with it.
Plenty of ins and outs. Drummond, Hawksley, Rains, McKeever and Zorko come in. Adcock, Cornelius, Lester and Crisp
sounds like a magician.
Well, hopefully perform some magic on the weekend for the Lions.
God, I hope Zorko's got some tricks. That's all right. Zorko's the magician. If he comes out in a big black hat, I'm going home. If Brisbane win, I'm going to get an interview with him after the game. I'm guaranteed. I'm going to take a hat out, I'm going to take a cane. They pull a rabbit out.
We'll put you in a box.
You blokes have wrecked his career before he started. Good luck to that fan. Good luck to you. All right, let's take a look. Good luck. Square it off.
What a name to play with. What a player he turned out to be. Game 300 for Dayne Zorko when the Lions meet the Hawks on Sunday night. It's our great pleasure to have him back on 360. Dayne, congratulations and welcome.
Thanks so much, Gerard. Thanks, Gary. Really appreciate it.
They just thought you were going to be a one-trick pony, those boys.
I'll tell you what, there's some feedback for you before you play a game. Look, I've had my doubters throughout my career, even before I made it into the AFL. So, I think that was probably one thing that just continued for me to keep going and keep persisting and keep trying. So, proved him wrong once, and I'll keep proving him wrong again.
It is the game's great milestone. Have you been a little bit reflective over what you overcame to be able to achieve it?
Yeah, I have a little bit, Gerard. I've tried not to delve into it too much, but I am really, really proud of what I've been able to achieve. There's no doubt about that. You wouldn't have given a bloke much hope getting drafted at the age of 21 to reaching 300 games and to play 14 odd years and have the and being able to play, consistently week in, week out in this sport's really, really hard to do. And to reach this milestone is, I think it sits right up there with the Premiership. I really do. It's not a lot of players do that. I think I got told I'll be the 109th player to do it. So with how many people have actually played in the AFL, to only 109 to reach this milestone, it's something I'm really, really proud of.
And you have a special place in that 109. You are the oldest to reach the 300-game milestone. You inherit that from Alistair Lynch, who inherited it from Roger Merritt, who inherited it from Kevin Murray. This is a Lions thing, Dayne.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm going to catch up with Lynchy a little bit later tonight, so I'll be sure to rub it into him somewhat. But, I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's great to hear all those names as well. I mean, they're absolute club legends. The history that those guys have provided for our football club has been absolutely enormous. And for my name to sit up there alongside them, I'm really proud of that.
Oh, you deserve it, Zork. Congratulations. It's an outstanding performance. And you can go one or two ways. Well, I'd imagine when you get to 300, you can limp to the line, and there are some who have celebrated and poke fun at themselves by just getting there and being nursed along, or you can charge through it like you are. You're coming off an All-Australian year last year and a half-back flank, and there's every chance, there's a great chance you're going to do it again. What is the secret to this longevity? And I don't think it's any coincidence that they're Brisbane players. Like Kevin Murray would have enjoyed the sun up there, but the others certainly did. Have you have an insight?
Oh, the warmer weather certainly helps. There's no doubt about that. I think both Grant Birchall and Luke Hodge can attest to that. And even the boys that we've drafted in the last 6 or 7 years, like Link McCarthy, like Lockie Neal, Joe Danaher, these guys had injuries at other clubs that probably really struggled to get on the park down in Melbourne in those southern states. But coming up to the warmer weather has certainly helped with their bodies. But I think for me, there was certainly a crossroad at the end of the 2022 season where I was really struggling with injury. I had Achilles tendonitis for the past 2.5 years, and I felt like I was really letting myself down, and more importantly, I was letting the team down, and I didn't feel like I was at my absolute best. And I remember walking into Fags and Dom Ambrosio in our exit meetings in the end of 2022, and I said, if I can't get this right, next year will be my last year. I can't feel as though I'm letting the team down any longer. It doesn't sit well with me, and thankfully, I due to Daniel Rich's ability to network, I found a needle expert up here in Brisbane by the name of Jim Bostock, who worked on my body for a month or so and delivered some of the most incredible results that have now, and I still see him to this day, helped me perform at the highest possible level. He released a lot of trauma in my body through his needling work, and from there I've been able to find a new lease on life. And I think at the start of the 2023 season, when Fags threw me down back, that was another sort of opportunity for me to expand my game, expand my knowledge, and feel like a kid at school again, learning all these new things about being a backman, and really joining that core group of boys down there that have held up the fort for so long. So there's been a couple of little areas over the last few years that have really regenerated and rejuvenated me to want to be the best footballer I could possibly be. Getting my body right was certainly one of those. And the positional change that Fags asked me to give a go has certainly helped with that as well.
I reckon Jim Bostock's going to get a couple of calls.
Yes.
I might see him myself next time. Like that.
You've signed a new contract today. Was this an easy decision to go on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of been in the pipelines there for a few weeks, Gerard, and I guess we were just sort of waiting for the right time to do it. And we thought, well, why not? Let's just load the week up. So, forever grateful for the club for, first of all, giving me the opportunity under Rob Kerr and Michael Boss, 14 odd years ago, but for the club to see still fit for me the opportunity to go on next year and really help with these emerging players that we have in our side at the moment and help fast track their careers to keep this club up top of the ladder where it belongs. So, I'm grateful for that opportunity once again, and hope I can do the colours proud.
We love talking to people about you. We spoke to Lockie Neal last night about you. His smile comes over his face when we speak to Fags. You are combative, I think, is a nice way to say it. I reckon you would have got into trouble a lot as a kid at school. I reckon you could have argued most points given the way that you interact with the umpires over the journey. It's no criticism, although there was some along the way. You did tread the really fine line. But you've come out the other side just this much-loved footy figure, and you should be as well. But you have played with a bit of a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Gaz. Jonathan Brown in my first year of the football club, at the end of the season, we all sat down in a circle and we spoke about each individual just as a playing group. And Brownie obviously sitting next to me in the locker room, being number 16, he had some wise words for me, and he could see early on that I certainly had a chip on my shoulder from obviously not getting drafted for a number of years, and he urged me to continue to leave that chip on the shoulder and at all costs, don't let it come off, keep fighting, keep working really hard. And I remember Kane Farrell saying to me one night from Port Adelaide, saying, "You're just a competitor, mate. You're an absolute competitor." And there's no doubt I've had some things in my football career that have turned a little bit ugly and have gotten me into hot water, but I just want to win. I wanted to win the whole entire time I've been at the Brisbane Lions, and that's just me. I'm one of 4 kids. I was the third child, had an older brother that always used to wrestle me, fight me. I always lost, and enough was enough. So when I got to the AFL, and I was pretty similar like that in my junior football as well, I was quite feisty and always had an argument and a point to prove, but I think it's held me in really good stead. And although I really float on that line occasionally, I'd like to think for the majority of the 300 games, I've been okay.
We've got your merch here. We'll have it on while we're watching the footy on Sunday night. You can't. I think you found it hard to get hold of. We've got it. You can't play 14 seasons without having a deep love of the game. What's your favourite part of footy?
Oh, this might sound weird and a little bit strange, but I absolutely just love training. And I think during that period between 2020 and 2022 where I couldn't really train, that really frustrated me and it really hurt a lot. So the last 3 years of pre-season, I've just enjoyed being back out there. I love training week in, week out with the boys, trying to get better, working on our craft, making sure that we can be the best possible team, that we can be. And with that, we've been able to get some great success off the back of that. But I absolutely love the game. I love the teammates that come with it. It's really sad, we'll head into this part of the year where, there's the ultimate glory of a premiership right there for you. But at the same time, come October, you're going to lose teammates as well that have to either be moved on or whatnot or retire. So it's a really difficult period coming up. But even better if we can, salute at the end of the year. And I think that's why we all play. We want to hold that Premiership Cup up. I've been fortunate enough to do it once and I want to keep going.
Sunday's a great stage. It's a worthy setting for a tremendous milestone. Enjoy it and the best of luck, and we'll see you afterwards in September.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Great stuff.
Dayne Zorko reaches game 300 on Sunday at the Gabba. All right, let's bring in our favourite pair. They make us smarter every week. There's a bit to look into on the coaching front tonight as well. The self-inflicted wounds. John Longmire and Adam Simpson, who have shared so much together. They've lived the current day experiences of various coaches on the cusp of this final series. Still looks like a diplomat, still plays like a footballer. Not a pound over his playing weight, it seemed, and Matthew Pavlich showed on the weekend that he's still got it. Making his footy return in the Carlton draft, he pulled on the number 29 for the Beverley Redbacks in WA. He had plenty of it. Kicked a couple of goals, took his trademark grabs, played in pain through the final term. He's done his quad, so he paid the price.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he broke the sweats. The Redbacks didn't get the win, but that hardly mattered. The community rallied for Docker royalty. It was the star turn of the day. Simmo and Horse, our favourite pairing. They make us smarter every week. They take us into the guise of the modern-day coach. John Longmire's here. Great to see you, John.
Good to see you, Gerard, Garry.
Adam Simpson over in the West. Hello, Simmo.
Hey, boys. I'm not sure how many CEOs can still play the game. He's probably the last one, I would have thought.
Yeah, and he looked like he jumped higher than what I ever did when I was playing. It's incredible. He looked all right, the Pav.
I reckon
that wasn't that hard.
Matthew Nick's scenario might have had you both breaking out in cold sweats as the crisis-laden week. How to navigate it, where the opportunities for positives are, but the self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, and that's, the situation is the situation. So you really dealt with the cards you've got in front of you. You've just got to work your way through it, and step by step. The biggest thing, and it'd be interesting talking to Simmo about it, is just the energy that it takes away and the focus that it takes away. I mean, there's the seriousness of the incident in the first place, and you have to deal with that. And I'm sure that Nixie's got people around him, and the football club have got people around there to be able to do those things and deal with the seriousness of it. But then the practicality of actually, the doorstop of Jordan Dawson, everyone's on the radio over there, they're on the media, they're talking about it all the time. So it's just the energy that it takes out of you, and trying to get that energy directed back into the game is the real art of coaching, and trying to address it, do what you have to do. Then when you come inside the four walls, how do you direct it into the energy of the game?
Simmo?
Well, this time of year, there's two platforms, I suppose. There's injuries, and then there's the self-inflicted position that Adelaide are in. And, I think Horse and I both been through both situations. And from a leadership point of view, how do you handle that? And your media management's important from a coaching point of view. So I noticed Nixie pushed back his press conference a couple of days, which is probably the wise thing to do. And being in a two-team town, it becomes number one priority. And as much as the AFL's all over it, you imagine what it's like in Adelaide at the moment. So what he says and the next time he speaks will be very measured, and then how he treats the player and then how he treats the team and the footy department will be all part of his next phase in what is a big campaign coming up. So, yeah, the self-inflicted ones, they're the most difficult ones because injuries happen. But these things, they also happen, but it's a different way of handling it.
So we'll go through some of them in a minute, but just you two take us. You must have a moment where you just shake your head, and whether it's when you get home and you close the door and you say, how has this happened? We're on top of the ladder, we're Premiership favourites, we're playing the best footy we have for 10 years, and arguably our best player's not going to be involved.
It normally happens when you look at your phone and it's the CEO or the football manager ringing. That's not really a good thing, and particularly if it's late at night or early in the morning. Yeah. And so you usually take a breath and you go, OK, what's this mean? Right. And then you answer it, and then the range of emotions you go through to be able to deal with that. The next call is usually to your media manager, and probably people don't really get the concept until you're in the footy club, and Simmo just mentioned it before, but your media manager you talk to is almost as much as your senior coaches, as your assistant coaches. You talk to them a great deal, and you need to be really using them as much as you can during these periods to be able to make sure that energy is directed.
Yep, it's a lot, that's for sure. So maybe take us to each of your case studies. All of these scenarios are different, and yours, John, was on the eve of a final series where Buddy Franklin wasn't going to be able to play.
Yeah, and that was back in 2015 when it became apparent that Lance needed some time away. And I guess this is a bit of a different scenario. This is a completely different scenario. In Lance's case, he just he could not play. And so it was very clear. So we didn't have to go through the what ifs of that. It was very clear that Lance needed to step away from the game, and that was absolutely the right call for Lance, for the football club, for everybody. It was absolutely the right call to look after Lance. And so back then you needed to be able to deal with it, talk and care in regards to the person that you're dealing with. That's first and foremost in your mind, to be able to give that care and understanding, and then be able to direct yourself and your energy back into the football team. And really, you rely enormously on your leaders when that happens. And Simmo, you've had plenty of experiences in this space as well.
Yeah, I think it's important. The most important piece for me, anyway, was the empathy piece. So every time you're talking to someone, so for us it was 2018. We lost Nat Nui about round 18. We lost Brad Shepherd in the first final, but we also lost Andrew Gaff. It was a self-inflicted situation. So all three different situations we had to deal with, and you just got to put yourself in their shoes as the first and foremost thing you do. And then you deal with the issue as best you can through your media department. Then you've got to talk to your players. And unfortunately with the injuries, it's next soldier up. It's just the way you got to approach it. And I'm sure Nixie's got a lot of roles within his football team, so someone's just got to come in and play that role, and that's how you got to be pretty black and white. For us, in 18, we had the time with Nick to try and do something a bit different, but Brad Shepherd was a big part of our solution with the way he played. So we brought in Will Schofield, and it was just role for role. So it was pretty black and white. Willie Rioli was a little bit different for us. That was in 2019. So the night before the game, we're in the hotel. We just landed, and Asada just come in and just and grabbed him, and pretty much I didn't see him again for a couple of months. So he was an important part of that side as well. So we had to fly over Jack Petrocelli to fill the void, and we lost the next night it was pretty disruptive, but at the same time, it was okay. We've lost Willie. Let's get on. Let's get on with it. We've got Petch in, and let's play. So, yeah, how you lead through this is really important. It's a really important piece, and I think it starts with empathy of the situation and the people you're talking to.
So I think it's worth pointing out is you lost that final in 2019. You lost both of your finals in 2015. So you navigate it as best you can, and then there are football implications. And then you're the poster boy for what's happening right now. Everyone goes to the 2018 Eagles. This can still be done. You did have a bit longer to plan for it than the week before the finals.
Yeah, Nixie's not thinking about grand finals. He's thinking about this week. So as much as they may have locked up top two, there's an opportunity for someone to come in and play a role. So the team's not built around one person. And I think everyone within, and Horse, you can attest to this, that everyone within the four walls knows that. They know there's particular talented players that are very important, but no one wouldn't believe they can still win it without him. So it's not a difficult message to send. It's someone gets another opportunity, we keep moving forward. You actually worry a little bit more about the player, not, Rankine's going to be the one they're going to worry about the most. I think the players are going to be fine. I reckon Adelaide are going to be fine. I still think there is, as much as on paper they're not as strong, I don't think they're thinking like that. So that's how we approached it. Another opportunity comes up for someone else, and from a leadership point of view, you got to stay calm. Duck on a pond sort of vibe. Underneath the water, you're going 100 miles an hour, but you're looking pretty calm on top. So it's just business as usual. We just don't have him this week.
We're going to some tactical stuff in a minute. Just in a word, can they still win it without him?
Yes.
Simmo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's take us to Saturday night. It's an incredible game of footy. Strategy became a massive part of it, and you two guys are as good as anyone to talk us through it. Who instigates the loose behind the footy? Who then sits in the box and says, yeah, we're happy to go this way? Talk us through how it all unfolds.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this is a bit of strategy versus system, and everyone has a way to play against. So we're playing Adelaide this week. We think getting an extra behind the play is going to work well for us. We've all got our metrics that we use and our identity and how we move the ball, but it's mainly from a stoppage situation. You'll set up potentially 6 forwards ahead of the play, or if you want an extra behind the play and you don't want to drop off a higher forward, you'll use your wingers. So I think this game started with Collingwood saying, OK, Houston, we'll get you on the wing and we're going to put you behind the play at stages, especially at stoppages between the arcs, and we're going to have an extra. So Adelaide went with that extra, so 7-man forward line, and then after a poor start, I think they said, all right, well, we'll get an extra at our end. And within 10 minutes, it became a extra versus extra, so plus ones, and we'll look at some vision in a second. How and why do teams do that is interesting, because it's defensively, but it's also an offensive weapon as well. I think, Horse, Geelong are the best at this. We'll look at 2 clips. I think, Horse, your clip's more based around a forward 50 stoppage where almost every team will pull an extra behind the play. But how do you deal with that when you're dealing with an extra in front of the play offensively?
Yeah, and as we look at the screen now, you see Darcy Cameron, as Simmo mentioned, normally most teams have an extra back. Their ruckman comes back and drops back, and you can just see with the bit of delay that it gives the opposition to be able to look up. They can't really go forward because they're looking straight at Darcy Cameron. Collingwood have done a great job there to be able to block up the corridor. They can't switch, they can't use their loose. Maybe I'm not sure whether they've trained it as much as what some teams have, but they go down the line, they decide to go down the line anyway. They get a bit lucky here. The ball actually spills down. You can just see Dacos come in, which they're normally really good at holding their width here. Collingwood, Dacos comes in. You see the ball spill over here, and the reaction time of the Adelaide forwards to get forward. Collingwood like to press those contested situations, and that gives you the opportunity when the ball gets over the back with really quick reflexes to get forward. And Simmo's going to go through, from the other perspective now.
Let me just pause this for a quick second, boys, just so I get. I'm not as sharp as Horse. I need to get my bearings. So this is the wingers situation. That's what I spoke about earlier, and I think Adelaide decided after 15 minutes, you know what, we're going to have our own +1. So these 2 wingers are Houston and Curtin. If you let it go, you just watch those two. They're playing footy. They're holding their balance. They're playing that wing role. And the second though it goes out of bounds, they both sort of start peeling towards the defensive end, and they'll pick up the highest half forward and then free up a defender. and this is already organised. That defender, he's not going to be the spare for Collingwood. We're just focusing on Collingwood for a second. They'll work it out so Darcy Moore's free. So they'll come and replace. And eventually, as that ball gets thrown in, you'll see there's an extra behind the play. And if you look up the other end, they've done the same thing. So now, if you're Adelaide, you've got to be aware of that. And just bombing the ball in becomes an issue. So he looks up, there's your visual delay. Okay, feed it back. That's great for Collingwood, more pressure. Another visual delay. And then you try and hit this kick, and then there you get the ball back. The biggest issue that Horse and I spoke about, that's great, but what are you doing now if you're Collingwood? You can't go straight back as quick as you can because your spare behind the plate probably needs to be used. And Horse, it's fair to say Geelong are the best at using that spare now. We've got a spare to get the ball back, but now we're going to use that spare to get the ball forward.
Yeah, it's not just a defensive mechanism. Geelong are great at being able to use that extra now in offence. Saw them play the SCG last week. They'll then use that extra and away they go to attack.
Excellent, excellent. All right, we'll see you on the eve of the final series.
He's in fine form.
Yeah, you want to make sure you got your guard up, guys.
They're slowly taking over.
Adam Simpson and John Longmire, our coaches on 360. Our privileged access across the final series, as you have become used to, on 360. The 8 coaches involved in the finals will join us across the next 2 weeks before the final series begins on a Thursday night. So the coaches in the top 4 slots, they mightn't be locked in because Gold Coast's peculiar scenario will join us to get it all started next week.
He's not a big frame. He's a light frame, tall player, but take his chances.
Dayne Miller on a glorious break here. Unloads, held on to the memories, and hold on to the hope. Explosive. St Kilda lead again.
Tip for young commentators, don't talk over the centre bounce.
It happened quickly though, didn't it?
Oh no.
Wanganeen Miller walks out of the centre, has a couple of bounces, 51, launches, he is magnificent. Wow. He is a thing of absolute beauty. And that was as easy as you'd like to see it. Here goes Wanganeen Miller out of the middle, a couple of bounces, right to 50, finish it off! Oh. Wanganeen Miller, the magician, waves his wand at Docklands. He's special, he's different. Wanganeen Miller from the middle, a bounce, composes himself, he is a star. St Kilda fans would love to see that for a few more years.
So AFLW this weekend, North Melbourne and Port Adelaide, the Kangas will unveil their Premiership flag. Part of that will be now esteemed children's author, Libby Birch. Libby, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Meet Gary Lyon, esteemed children's author.
Just be very clear that I didn't bring those books.
I did.
Libby brought them in.
And don't they look good together?
They do. Hey, this is fantastic. Tell us about the idea and then putting it into practice. Everyone has great ideas, but following it through is the great challenge.
Yeah, it was. And about 2 years ago, a friend from the AFL messaged me to say she was looking for a young kids book that showed girls playing footy. And unbelievably, 8 seasons into AFLW, there was yet to have a picture book like this on the bookshelves for young girls and boys to pick up. So I got to work, and the story is based around little Libby, who gets a pair of orange boots, who, back in the way that I started footy, Daisy Pearce gave me a pair of orange boots when I was 18. So it's just been a brilliant story of friendship, courage and diversity in AFLW, and it's been just an incredible journey, and I've loved celebrating this in the book.
So your words and Robin's artwork involved, it's absolutely striking. So what she brought to the book?
She's done an incredible job. She camped out at young girls' footy days in Adelaide, and she's from Adelaide, and she just said it was just incredible to see all the different body shapes and sizes, the hairstyles, everything that footy is, the colours that you see, the diversities, and particularly in AFLW, even since its inception in 2017, I just think the inclusivity of that environment, whether it's the LGBTI plus community or our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community, I think has been well represented.
So the orange bird, I love that because it's your own experiences. Is that a thread through it?
Yeah.
Things that you went through as a young player?
It's a huge thread. The orange boots for me were almost like a Cinderella moment where Daisy Pearce's boots fit my foot, which is incredibly small. So the chances weren't many there. And I went down to the Darebin Falcons, who are one of the leading Australian women's football VFLW sides, and they just embraced me for who I was. And I think that that's what I tried to put in the book, is that AFL in general, you can show up and be yourself no matter what.
What's the response been like?
Oh, it's been incredible, particularly with book week this week.
Yeah.
I've seen all the kids dress up and go as little Libby or one of the characters to schools, and I just think it's been fantastic to see young girls reading the book and young boys at bedtime dreaming of all that they can be, because when I was growing up, obviously Specky McGee was huge for young men and young boys growing up, but we didn't have a young girls book up until now.
So one of the most rewarding things, surprisingly, to come out of the book was the feedback from educators and parents about, boys particularly, more so than girls. We were told we were reluctant readers. Reluctant boy readers was a great challenge for educators out there, and to get their interest piqued with a football on the front, as you have got with your book. And that will be one of the great byproducts. I'm not sure whether that feedback's coming through, but it will. That this gets people reading again.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the fact that AFLW since 2017 has had a 200% growth in participation. So feeding those young readers that are interested in footy or want to try and kick a footy one day, whatever you want to be, I think this book represents that with footy.
You're no stranger to Premiership flag unveilings. You've done it at 2 previous clubs and you'll do it again this weekend with North Melbourne. How special will it be as the final marker of a remarkable season? Yeah,
it'll be incredibly special to bring the flag back to Arden Street and unfurl it with all our fans. It's the first chance we do that in season 2025, of course. Season 2024 was just magnificent. It couldn't have been any better for Roos fans and our coaches and staff and players and everyone that made that dream possible. And it was such a special year. But I think on the actual day as players, it's really important for us to, yes, have celebrated that and celebrate it with our fans, but then also focus on the game at hand. So I think sometimes it can be quite a distraction on the day, and we've still got to get a job done against Port Adelaide.
And you've lived this for as long as anyone. The standard of players coming through must be encouraging.
Oh, it's absolutely exciting. Like, we knew it was going to be massive this year, the step up in our 10th season, but to see players like Zippy Fish from Sydney, she was incredible. We saw Havana Harris take a huge mark in the goal square. We saw the Ascentra bounce, which is already a viral sensation. But these young kids have been playing footy through the pathway for 10 seasons now, 10 years, and we're seeing that come through. So I urge you, if you haven't watched a game yet, to flick it on, because there is some magnificent footballers and athletes out there.
And your career is an incredible career. When you do come to write Libby's final book, it's a pretty remarkable journey so far, isn't it?
Well, I've got 8 books to write. Specky McGee.
Got some room to go, but they won't believe the story when you say that Libby eventually has won 3 flags at 3 different clubs.
Well, it's been incredible, and I feel very lucky and very grateful. Premierships are very, very hard to come by, and I've stepped into clubs at the right time, and I've been able to have small impacts here and there, and it's just been a magnificent journey that I've loved, meeting the people along the way as well, because premierships are about the people that you celebrate it with.
That's awesome.
Go and get it. Go out and buy it so it goes into a second reprint and a third and a fourth, Libby.
You might get some more sales out of this.
Let's expand back on those books over there. Might motivate us to get back and write one. That's what I might do.
Good on you, Libby. Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks for coming in tonight. Libby's Footy Adventures in all good bookstores. Tomorrow night, the commencement of the final round of the home and away season. It's the departing point for the Blues. The Bombers have still got 2 to play. It's a special night for Zach Merritt. They are ancient rivals. It'll still have an edge when we all gather at the MCG. Thursday night footy here on Fox, the Bombers and the Blues. Time for our Pointsbet update with Bernie Vince. Bernie, welcome.
Thanks, Gerard. I want to turn your attention to Sunday. A couple of cracking games that are going to shape the 8. First one, the Dogs take on the Dockers at Marvel Stadium. My only concern with the Dogs are against fellow top 9 teams. They're 2-8 this season, but this game is at Marvel. Exceptional record there, 10-2. That's why I think they get the job done, which means Fremantle will miss the 8 again this year. Sunday night footy now. The Hawks travel to the Gabba to take on Brisbane. Brisbane win this, they lock in a top 4 spot and that double chance. A couple of things against the Lions, though. Hawthorn, they're the healthiest team in the last 5 weeks. Used only 27 players and gone 4-1 in those 5 weeks. And Brisbane, they have to travel back from Perth. Eastern State teams that have had to do that are 4-6 this season. So a couple of things against them. I still think, in my mind, they get the job done and lock that top 4 spot in. You can find all those odds plus a whole heap more on the Pointsbet app. Enjoy the footy.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Remember this?
It's going to go to Higgins, who has a step around the body. It's going to go close. Oh, no! Oh, no!
The chaotic final Sunday ticket of last year.
Carlton fans are absolutely stunned.
Carlton's misstep reverberating across the Nullarbor.
These were the scenes when the Saints defeated Carlton to keep Fremantle's season alive.
The celebrations short-lived in the West.
Rio falter at the finish.
Right here, right now, right here. So, of course, we're expecting another dramatic final Sunday ticket of 2025. It begins in Sydney's West.
The Giants have had all the answers.
Toby Green's Giants charging towards another finals campaign.
The Green Machine has done it again.
Hosting the Saints with the ink of this generational talent signature still drying.
Oh, my God. We love that. Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Next up under the roof.
Bontempelli out of nowhere.
The Bulldogs and the Dockers, 7th up against 8th, with one thing for sure. There's no room for both this September.
They need their stars to lift.
A Friday night flop leaving Fremantle in a tailspin.
I know everyone will be doom and gloom and write us off again. Got a lot of faith in this team.
Now the only way is through Bevo's rampaging Dogs.
Big moment. Hold your breath. See if you can tell me what this is.
We take a deep breath with the unpredictable madness on bounce with Chief and the gang. Wrapping up north with the Lions and the Hawks. The reigning premiers with a timely flex to remind everyone they hold the crown. Here comes Hawthorn.
If Hawthorn can beat Brisbane, then it will be a 3-way race for 4 spot.
Spearheaded by the ageless Jack Gunston.
Jack Gunston's kick 7.
2 months out from turning 34 and in the form of his life.
What a season he's having, Jack Gunston.
The final Sunday ticket of 2025, saving the best to last. Live, right here on Fox Footy.
What a day of footy that will be. First crack in a moment's time. We've amassed quite good merch this week.
Got my Christmas present sorted, Gerard.
All right, your weekend picks for Pointsbet. Give me your round 24 headline.
Dog gone. I know it's a very touchy subject, Gerard, but I'm not sure if the dog survived this.
All right.
No comment.
No comment.
What have you got?
I've got ladder predictor crashes. Do you know there was a moment last week after the Giants won where the ladder predictor gave the Giants the capacity to play 24 games and threw them up to... I mean, how are they getting in the top 4? So just if you're right in the ladder predictor, and I am,
you may not be surprised. I didn't realise that.
Plot twist. It's a nerdy life, isn't it?
What is my plot twist? I can't even remember. Zach signs for 2.1 per year, and that's butters. Just to say, righto, the St Kilda $2 million will only last for another month before we go bang.
I heard that the Swans are going to play with earpieces in.
For reasons?
Because the Pav is on commentary for their game, the CEO. They just want to find out what he thinks.
Be very careful with what he says.
Last dollar.
I'm going with Kenny. I'm just going to chuck it all on Kenny. Port Adelaide against Gold Coast for the emotional uplifting.
All right. I'm barracking for the sheer absurdity of round 24, Gold Coast, and Anderson, 6 votes.
Ooh, dear.
I'm all in for it.
Oh, because he plays twice.
Because he plays twice.
Comes from the clouds.
Yeah, from the clouds.
That could be your best of the year.
All right. I'll see you all the way through the weekend.
Let's do it.
We'll be here on Monday nights. First crack time with Ben Dixon.